There is one fear that shows up in retirement survey after retirement survey, year after year, and it is not the fear of getting sick, not the fear of losing a loved one, not even the fear of death itself. According to the 2026 annual retirement study from Allianz Life, published just last month, 2 out of every 3 Americans, 67%, say they are more afraid of running out of money in retirement than they are of dying. That number has jumped 10 full percentage points since 2022 alone. And when you look at what is actually happening to retirees right now in 2026, that fear starts to make complete and terrifying sense. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly why this fear exists, what the real numbers say about how close most Americans are to the financial edge, and most importantly, the specific strategies that will protect you from becoming one of the statistics. Let's start with the honest picture of where most Americans actually stand. According to Northwestern Mutual's 2026 Planning and Progress study released in April, the average American now believes they need $1.46 million to retire comfortably. That number is up over $200,000 from just last year. But here is the brutal gap. The actual median retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64 right now is $185,000. For those aged 65 to 74, it is $200,000. The average American retiree currently has approximately $288,700 saved. That is barely 1/5 of what people themselves say they need. And 51% of current retirees say they have absolutely no plan for what they would do if their savings ran out. No backup, no strategy, nothing. Now here is where the fear becomes truly rational. A recent survey found that Americans expect their retirement savings to run dry at around age 79. But those same Americans expect to live well into their mid to late 80s. That is a gap of roughly 6 years. 6 years of living expenses with no savings left, surviving on Social Security alone, or on whatever family members can contribute. Researchers call this the longevity gap, and it is one of the most under-discussed financial crises facing older Americans today. A 65-year-old man today has a life expectancy of roughly another 17 to 18 years. A 65-year-old woman has closer to 20 years. But longevity is not an average, it is a range. And planning only to the average means a 50% chance of outliving your money completely. If this is hitting close to home, subscribe to Wise Dude right now. Every week, we break down the real financial challenges facing Americans in retirement and give you practical, honest strategies to deal with them. Hit that subscribe button and stay with me because we are about to get into the solutions. So how do you actually stop this from happening to you? The first thing you need to understand is the withdrawal rate problem, because this is where a lot of retirement plans quietly fall apart without the person even realizing it. For decades, the standard advice was the 4% rule. Withdraw 4% of your savings annually and your money should last 30 years. But Morningstar's 2026 State of Retirement Income Report, which is the most current research available, now puts the safe baseline withdrawal rate at 3.9% for retirees using a fixed spending strategy with a 30-year time horizon. If you are willing to be flexible, meaning you pull back slightly in bad market years and spend a little more in good ones, Morningstar says you may be able to withdraw as much as 5.7%. But the key word is flexible. Rigidly pulling 4% or more out of a portfolio every single year, regardless of what the market is doing, is one of the fastest ways to accelerate the depletion of your savings. The practical takeaway is this. If you have $300,000 saved and you are withdrawing 4%, that is $12,000 a year from your savings. That is not a lot of runway when inflation is running at 3.8%, and healthcare costs are rising faster than that. The second strategy is building what financial planners call the bucket approach. Instead of treating all your retirement money as one pool you draw from equally, you divide it into 3 separate buckets based on when you will need it. Bucket 1 covers your immediate needs, 1 to 2 years of living expenses in cash or a high-yield savings account, completely untouched by market fluctuations. Right now, high-yield savings accounts are offering 4 to 5% annually, which at minimum keeps pace with current inflation. This bucket means you never have to sell investments at a loss just because the market dropped the same year your roof needed replacing. Bucket 2 covers years 3 through 10, a mix of bonds, dividend-paying stocks, and more conservative investments. Bucket 3 is your long-term growth bucket, broad market index funds invested for 10 years or more. This structure means a market crash does not destroy your ability to pay your bills next month, because next month's money is sitting safely in Bucket 1, completely insulated. The third strategy is understanding and managing sequence of returns risk, which is the specific danger of experiencing a major market downturn in the first 5 years of retirement. This is not just bad luck, it is a mathematically distinct threat. If your portfolio drops 30% in year 2 of retirement and you are still withdrawing from it every month, you are selling assets at depressed prices and permanently reducing the base from which your portfolio can recover. The people who ran out of money fastest after the 2008 financial crisis were not those who had the least saved. They were often those who retired in 2006 or 2007 and immediately started pulling from portfolios that then crashed. The protection against this is having that cash buffer in Bucket 1 and being willing to temporarily reduce discretionary spending during the first few years of a market downturn rather than maintaining rigid withdrawal amounts. Strategy 4 is Roth conversions, and this one is genuinely urgent for anyone in their late 50s or early 60s who has most of their savings in a traditional 401k or IRA. When you withdraw from a traditional account in retirement, every dollar is taxed as ordinary income. In 2026, if you and your spouse are filing jointly, that income gets taxed at rates ranging from 10 to 37%, depending on how much you pull. But Roth IRA withdrawals are completely tax-free. They took healthcare costs seriously before retirement arrived, and they kept some form of income flowing even after leaving their main career. None of these strategies require a financial degree. They require the decision to treat your retirement with the seriousness it deserves while you still have time to act. That time, for most people watching this, is right now. Subscribe to Wise Dude, share this video with someone you care about, and let's make sure the people around you never become one of those statistics. If you want to go deeper on any of these strategies or have specific questions about your own situation, you can reach me directly at wisedude@gmail.com. I read every message and I will always help point you in the right direction. Here is what it all comes down to. 67% of Americans fear running out of money more than dying. That fear is not irrational. It is based on real numbers, real inflation, real healthcare costs, and a real gap between what people have saved and what retirement actually costs. But fear without a plan is just paralysis. An extra $1,000 a month in income means $12,000 a year that does not come from your portfolio. Over 20 years, with growth factored in, that preserved capital can represent $300,000 or more that remains in your account instead of being withdrawn. The goal is not to work until you collapse. The goal is to reduce the draw on your savings enough that the math starts working for you instead of against you. Strategy 7 is creating a supplemental income stream that takes lasting pressure off your savings. 4 in 10 Americans, 41% according to Northwestern Mutual's 2026 study, say they plan to work in some capacity during retirement. This is not failure. For many people, it is the smartest financial decision they make. Consulting, freelancing, part-time work in a field you know, renting a room or a property, generating income from a skill you have built over decades, any of these can add $500 to $1,500 a month without being a full-time commitment. And the impact on your savings longevity is enormous. HSA contributions are tax-deductible going in, grow tax-free, and come out completely tax-free when used for medical expenses. There is no other triple tax advantaged account available to Americans. In 2026, the contribution limit for an HSA is $4,300 for an individual and $8,150 for a family. Every dollar you put in there and invest is a dollar working specifically to cover the cost that is most likely to derail your retirement. Strategy 6 addresses healthcare, which is consistently the largest unplanned expense in retirement and one of the fastest drivers of savings depletion. The Employee Benefit Research Institute estimates that a 65-year-old couple retiring today needs between $351,000 and $413,000 just for healthcare expenses throughout retirement, not including long-term care. Medicare Part B premiums in 2026 are $202.90 a month per person, already up 9.7% from last year, and they will keep rising. If you are not yet retired and you are on a high deductible health plan, a health savings account is your single most powerful tool for this problem. Every dollar of reliable monthly income that does not come from your portfolio is a dollar your portfolio does not have to generate. That means your savings last longer, your withdrawal rate stays lower, and the math of running out shifts significantly in your favor. Despite this, only 12% of Americans plan to wait until 70 to claim, while 21% still plan to claim at 62. That is an expensive decision made out of short-term thinking that costs people hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime income. Strategy 5 is delaying Social Security as long as you possibly can, and the math on this is more powerful than most people realize. Claiming at 62 permanently reduces your monthly benefit by up to 30% compared to your full retirement age of 67. Waiting until 70 increases your benefit by approximately 8% for every year you delay past full retirement age. But the connection to running out of money is this: the higher your guaranteed monthly Social Security income, the less pressure there is on your savings every single month. The years between when you retire and when you are required to start taking minimum distributions at age 73 are often your lowest income years, and therefore your lowest tax bracket years. Converting portions of your traditional savings into a Roth during that window locks in lower tax rates now and creates a tax-free income stream for later. This does not just save you money on taxes, it protects you from future tax increases and gives you more control over how much taxable income you generate in retirement, which in turn affects your Medicare premiums and your Social Security taxation. The people who make it through retirement financially secure are not the ones who had perfect savings from the beginning. They are the ones who understood the withdrawal rate problem and managed it intelligently. They built a bucket strategy that kept their daily money safe from market swings. They did Roth conversions when the tax window was open. They delayed Social Security to maximize their guaranteed income.